Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. It's the 7th of the month, which means we're going to take a stroll through TCG Player, look at prices of things, talk about stuff, and just kind of share my thoughts with you about what's going on and where I think we're headed. So, of course, first up, set booster boxes, and the era of set booster boxes had two things going for it. One was that it wasn't very long, so there were 12, 13, 14 of them. And the other thing is they pretty well coincided with the Print to Oblivion era, and man, it's going to be rough for some of these boxes to ever get some traction. Of course, Zendikar Rising, I'm looking at you. Amazing it's still under $100 with the Expedition box topper, but here we are. I would have guessed Modern Horizons 2 would have moved up more. 212 on the lowest price here, market 206. I guess that means they're not selling through very fast. And after seeing that the enemy fetch lands have already moved up quite a bit and they're only in the rare slot, ooh, I wonder if there's actually some opportunity in those boxes. I'll look into that later. Wilds of Eldraine and Lost Caverns of Ixalan, of course, we're going to expect those to do better because they were late in the era after WotC had stuffed more and more and more value into these boxes. Wilds was the second to last standard expansion with a set box, and then Lost Caverns of Ixalan, here we go, 124 was the last one. So 124, 125, and Kamigawa 145. A little surprising to see Kamigawa there. Really strikes at how good of a set it was and how well it did when it was standard legal. Streets of New Cabana, $95, man. Yeah, it's going to have a rough life ahead of it. Phyrexia, 126, that's really good. And 119 for Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. I know there's a seller over on eBay who has these for $97. So, it's always been baffling to me what is cheaper on eBay, what is cheaper on TCG Player. Sometimes you feel like you're getting a handle on it and that you could almost guess, and then it just baffles you more. Part of the issue is you have so many distributors who run retail channels over on eBay selling right at wholesale or below wholesale or $1 or $2 above wholesale. And not all of those distributors are set up over here. Kaldheim 121, of course, this was an early 2021 era box. And I think when we get to the draft boxes, we'll see there's still a discrepancy. Strixhaven, the next standard expansion after Kaldheim, 107. That's something I would have expected to move up at least a little bit by now. You see a lot of the Japanese language boxes of those still up on eBay for sale. And of course, Innistrad, $90, Print to Oblivion, and Crimson Vow. The funny thing about this is the draft boxes are still incredibly weak. I bet when we switch over to that tab in a moment, we'll see them somewhere around $75 maybe. But the set boxes have always done really well on this. And I wonder if there was only one printing ever. If any of you guys have had the courage to buy a case of Crimson Vow set boxes and it has the print date on the case, put that in the comments down below and let me know. I would be curious if there was only one printing in late 2021 and that was it. I know the entire time I was opening up Baldur's Gate draft boxes to sell singles out of, every single case I bought had the March of 22 print date on it, and so it seemed there was never a second printing of that. Oh, yeah, I wanted to talk about this. So one of the obnoxious things that TCG Player does is you do these searches, set booster display. This is the best I can do. Please, TCG Player, you got a couple things you could do right here. You could have just a preset search that will just show me every set booster box. And then it doesn't go and start giving me like other less relevant results if I go to page 2. Like obviously Lord of the Rings, the little panoramic display things, those are not set booster boxes. And Commander decks are not set booster boxes. And collector boxes are not set booster boxes. It would be nice if there was somewhere on TCG Player I could just click one button and it would just show me all the set booster boxes or all the draft booster boxes or all the collector booster boxes or all the set booster packs and so on. And instead you have to try to make a search as best you can, and then it will give you irrelevant results mixed in, like this core set 21 collector booster display because it's core set, so it gets picked up on a search for set booster box. But then also You will never find Dominaria United set booster box in there because it's listed in their system as set booster box, and all of these are set booster displays. And so I just wish they would fix that one way or another. Either make sure everything is actually named correctly, change this name to display, or just give me a cleaner search option to use. So moving on to draft boxes, of course, this was in the era when set booster boxes came out. WotC started officially calling booster boxes draft booster boxes. And so everything before, what was our first set box? Was it Zendikar Rising, I think? So before that, they were just booster boxes. And now they're draft booster boxes in this era. And I wonder if we're going to see any draft boxes going forward. We had Ravnica Remastered had a draft box, and that was at the end of the set box era, overlapping the beginning of the play box era as Murders was coming out. I guess maybe we'll never have another draft box until WotC changes everything again. But like I said, Crimson Vow, here we are, $77, so that was higher than I would have expected. Unfinity, still $83. Golly, that was a year later. That was 2022. It's the same year as Dominaria United. Yeah, so that was 2022 in the second half of the year. Street, 76. Yeah, Kaldheim is 100, and its set box was in the 120s. Of course, Dominaria Remastered, I still think this is horribly underpriced, and it will perform very well in the long run. Zendikar Rising, $87. Man, I just can't imagine how much of it must still be sitting in the back room at card stores all over the country for the prices to have suffered that badly for so long. Dominaria United, 92. Commander Legends, it just keeps looking like it's going to get some wind under it, and then it just comes back down. I know they printed a ton of this, but not because it was printed to oblivion, but because the market really wanted it. The market loved this product in its own time, and now that Jeweled Lotus is at least temporarily banned, I guess it might have taken a small hit. We can actually go look at that. I don't think the data will be granular enough. I don't think the sales velocity is high enough for us to actually see it in the data here. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Hard to tease out if Jeweled Lotus's ban and then subsequent unban would have had any visible effect on this when the sell-through rate is so low. 2 boxes a day on average. That's actually higher than I thought it would be. What else we have? Strixhaven, $95. Yep, print to oblivion. Early 2021. And Brothers War, $90. I would have expected better from that. Double feature, $160. That's nice to see that having moved up about $10. I wonder if it did that more recently or if that just kind of a steady upwards. Yeah, okay. Nice to see it moving up. I think it's a good product. I probably have about 10 boxes back in the closet. Modern Horizons 2 Draft, $190. I would have expected better from this also. Again, given just the appreciation in the enemy fetch lands since the product went out of print. Double Masters 2022 Draft, $275. That is a good, reasonable price. Kamigawa, $110. And Commander Masters Draft, $278. We'll get over to Commander Masters in a bit. We'll take a better look at that in a minute. It's another one of those that suffers from bad naming on the website, and so it doesn't come up in searches correctly. Time Spiral, $213. That's another one where I would have expected a lot better price appreciation so far. And especially there are several really lottery cards in there where it's, the only foil printing of some card. And there are several multi-$100 foil cards you can pull from those boxes. March of the Machine Draft, $99. AFR, $99. And of course, Baldur's Gate, $98. I think there's some of this over on eBay for $88. I think I saw that earlier today. Phyrexia, $103. And then we get into the less relevant results. And now over to play boosters. Of course, we only have a couple of these so far. Murder still down at 104. I mean, it was in the 90s for a while, so that's good. Little bit of recovery. I think it kind of suffered the double whammy of being a poorly flavored set that just didn't feel like Magic in its flavoring, And then also, it was the first play box. And the reality of play boxes is that stores need to charge you $140 to break even on a play box. And that's whether they're a brick and mortar or they're selling it to you over this platform. About $140 is what they really need to charge, because wholesale, these things for a standard expansion are about 120. So, it's a brutally high price tag that they've got to charge, and they only have 36 boosters in them. And if we look back 4 years ago, you could buy at wholesale in the high 80s and low 90s, you could buy a draft box with 36 booster packs. And so at wholesale, the price has gone up $30. And the reality for the retail end user is you've got to pay about $140 for stores to sell these if they don't have a ton of pricing power, if they, can't afford to sit on it till it goes up. If, it's a sick situation, but yeah, we're seeing the market kind of start to digest that and start to understand that eventually those older boxes, even Zendikar Rising, one day will dry up. Outlaws 127, and then of course Bloomburrow 135, and Duskmourn 129. It's interesting, Bloomburrow's done better. Again, Bloomburrow, of these 4 sets, Bloomburrow is really the only one that's flavored like a Magic set. Outlaws was just stupid flavoring. I mean, Old West Outlaws and crap like that, that's not Magic. Duskmourn kind of strayed from it a bit, but not as bad as the other two. Bloomburrow really being the only one that felt like Magic. And Modern Horizons 3, 213. I think that's not a great price. I think the wholesale was something like 215 or maybe 220. I'd have to go back and look again, but not a great price for stores needing to sell it and actually make money. And considering that it's a straight to modern set, a premium price product, you would have hoped it would have done better. You don't expect it to do better because, I always imagine the people who work for Pokemon USA, when they're sitting around, like they're designing a set and they're working on which cards to include from the recent Japanese releases, and they're working on, which artworks are we going to copy, which ones are we going to commission new works for, and they're putting it together, and they're deciding which ones will get, gold secret rares and rainbow secret rares and all the rest of the stuff. And I kind of imagine an analogy to that being like a symphony playing. Like, they have it down. They know exactly what they're doing. They have one type of booster pack, and they distribute it over all these different products. And they have booster boxes, they have booster bundles, and they have stadiums. And that's so that whatever your price point is, you can buy something in your price point, and you get progressively better economies of scale by buying the slightly more expensive product with a few more booster packs in it. And then they have all of those like gorgeous V boxes and collection boxes and things like that. And then they've got all the tins and the ETBs, and they just have this very well thought out set of products. And it's like a symphony playing. And then I look at Magic, and I look at how they just whip back and forth between things. They abandon things. March of the Machine Aftermath utterly fails, so they try it again with Assassin's Creed. And I think of those videos of that race they have in England every year where they roll the cheese wheel down the hill, and people go like flying and tumbling down the hill and get life-altering injuries trying to catch the cheese wheel. And you could probably just search for like English cheese hill race or something and find videos of it. But that's how I imagine WotC with like Mark Rosewater. He's like the guy who throws the wheel, and then all the rest of the developers at WotC just go tumbling down the hill, ass overhead, having no idea what they're doing. And that's just how I picture it, Pokemon they've got it nailed. They know exactly what they're doing, and they execute with a high degree of success on everything. And then WotC is just like, I don't know, we haven't learned anything in 30 years, and I guess we just may never learn anything. So I think that's all the play boxes. We'll go into collectors. 225 for Bloomburrow. That's really good to see. Collector boxes in the last 20 months have done really, really well. WotC was turning things around on the collector boxes before we realized it, going all the way back to Phyrexia. Sadly, Dominaria Remastered didn't quite catch it. These are below wholesale still. I mean, think about this, okay? You've got $225 to spend. Is it better to buy a Bloomburrow collector box or to buy a Dominaria Remastered collector box and have $36 left over? I'll take the Dominaria Remastered box every single time. Foundations selling at $230 right now. I know there's some available. I saw cases of this available for $200 a box on eBay if you're willing to buy a whole case. Kaldheim 174. This is one that's really going to struggle with Print to Oblivion, and just there was nothing special in those boxes. Unfinity, I can never remember if it's the collector boxes or the draft boxes that have the box topper with the Galaxy Land. And Ravnica Remastered 315. That's okay. I think there's a lot of this still left. You know, I did my sales data videos of this, and one of the things we saw is that it vastly undersold in the first 60 days post-release. It vastly undersold Dominaria Remastered. And we see how Dominaria Remastered suffered in the almost 2 years since. I think there's still a lot of Ravnica Remastered out there. Commander Legends, $400. And Zendikar Rising holding stubbornly at this 230. I swear it's been here for quite a long time. Let's see. Let's go back all the way a year. Okay. So 10 months ago, it was at 193 market price. Then it got up here to 226 back in March of this year. So yeah, we're probably talking 7 months. It's been within about $10 or $15 of this. This is another one that really surprises me because it has 2 Expedition box toppers, and then it can get the foil versions of the Expedition lands inside the regular booster packs. And our beloved Dominaria United collector box with the Lost Legends, of course. It's going straight to $300. Hype it up. And then, well, it fell 50%, and now it's recovered $20. Sad deal. What's the spider lady? Not Shelob, that's Lord of the Rings. I can't think of it. I wonder if that's still a driving card from this. For a while, that was running about $80 because it was seeing play in multiple formats. Okay, this is another thing TCG Player does that irritates me. This picture used to work. At some point, they had a picture of an Unfinity Collector Booster display case, even if it just looked like this, where they just take the picture from the single box and put an X6 next to it. And then it stops working. Like, I would love to talk with one of their software engineering managers and be like, can you show me in the bugs database, like, what documentation you have for this bug that causes the pictures to disappear? How does it happen? And why has it not been fixed in all the years I've been using this site? Minor rant. Midnight Hunt, 120, and Crimson Vow, 140. And, you know, these are 2 where I always look at them and I think, you know, at some point, I should probably buy another case of these. And then I come in here and I look at the sell rate compared to the current listed quantity. And here we're looking at 3.5 periods. So about 11 months worth of boxes listed on the market right now. And you know there are more boxes out there. There's more boxes. If this sold through 200 boxes in the next week and the price rose to $200, you know how many more boxes of this would come out of the closet from people who would be excited to dump it at $200? So we're still nowhere near close to this catching any kind of reasonable wind and going up in price, just based on very, very weak indicator of amount of supply in the market. Of course, we can do the same thing with Midnight Hunt, 72. So what's that ratio? About 3-to-1. So 9 months worth of supply. And the same thing, if you were to start removing tons of these boxes and suddenly they're up here at what, 183, 193, then a lot more boxes would hit the market all of a sudden, and it would arrest that ascent. It would slow it down. So it's going to be a long time. Universes Beyond, Fallout 570. Man, and this was priced at standard expansion collector box pricing at the wholesale level. 134. Now, sometimes there's something... No, okay, this one's fine. I'll show you an example of a weird... It feels like a bug, but I don't know. I'll show you when we get over to Lord of the Rings. So, these are selling through, yeah, kind of a slow pace, 1.5 a day. Okay. Of course, when the price goes up, you'll find fewer buyers. 570. It's wild how fast those went up in price, and they didn't bounce off and come back. Speaking of something that went up in price, bounced off, and came back, man, it's been a roller coaster for Kamigawa. This was January of 22. Yeah. I remember I got in on the Rudy patron sale for this and got them for, I don't know, basically around this price, 205, 210, something like that. And then they shot up to, I don't know, 280, 270, something like that. And then eventually came back down. There's been so much feast and famine on this product over time. Of course, the Hitasugu Neon Parallel Chase cards driving it, and then just the strength of Kamigawa as a set. But actually, you can see that here, 253, and then now it's back to 230 at market price. Page 2. Duskmourn House of Horror 222. Huh. Yeah, these are still 209 over on eBay. A couple of the distributors posting as retailers over there, selling it at 209. So when you use your eBay MasterCard to get 3 1/3 off, you're getting it just a couple of dollars over wholesale price. Wonder if we'll see any rise in this price or if there's a lot of boxes right around here. Yeah, it gets up to 230 pretty soon. Okay, 234. It's pretty respectable. 235. So it does actually start moving up after not too many more boxes. Maybe within about a week, we'll see 230 at the market price. Double Masters 2022. Of course, my patrons, you can buy these for, is it 205 or 210? I forget. Something like that. Still got a bunch. Come get them. Wilds of Eldraine 332. I've sold a couple of those. And Outlaws of Thunder Junction, these are 177. Watsy's been dumping them over on Amazon for a couple days now. Use my affiliate link down below for everything you buy from Amazon. Use it as your landing page on Amazon. Takes money out of Jeff Bezos' pocket and puts it into mine. Brothers War 221. I've been selling these slowly also for several months. And man, the price has just barely moved. You can see all the way back here 6 months ago, it was at 206. So it's risen $15 market price in the last 6 months. And, it has the schematic artifact serialized cards. It has transformer cards, including the shattered glass ones. So there are some great things in the box. Core set 21 booster, 235. Sadly, that's probably about the right price. 214 for Assassin's Creed. This is probably the time to buy some. If you were like me and when it came down from 380 to 280, you thought you'd be a genius and buy your couple of boxes. And now it's 213. Yeah, I probably ought to average down a little bit on that. March of the Machines, 223. Now this has serialized cards too. They're the, Multiverse Legends. Never really seen anybody that excited about those serialized cards. Murders 165, a lot better than the 135 it sold at for quite a while right after release. Man, it's sad. I bet a lot of stores took a big bath on that product. Streets 125, yep, a 2-year-older product. This was March or April of 2022, and I guess 139 is the price. If the current lowest listing is higher than the market, that's what you should go off of. But if the market price is higher than the current lowest listing, then the lowest listing probably has shipping added onto it, or it's for a different product. Like in the case of Pokemon, you'll see it a lot where the lowest listing is like $10 for a booster box, and it's actually just a couple of booster packs, or it's one Japanese booster pack. Doctor Who collector boxes, I did my part. I opened, 40 or 50 of these for singles to sell. There was a time where there was really good inverted EV on that, even after fees, and you could make, I want to say it was $35, $40 per box that you open. But $250 now, yeah. I think they're going to go way higher. I think people are kind of sleeping on it. There's too many really good cards in there that sell for, the double-digit price range. Strixhaven $295. Good to see that coming up. Of course, the Mystical Archives and all the foil variants and the Japanese variants and the foil Japanese variants, and you can really essentially pull a lottery ticket out of some of these. Ikoria 309. I wonder, this is going to be a low velocity product. There's a chance that the actual cost is quite a bit less. So no, not. And these are Yeah, see, these are Japanese, the ones that are actually showing us the lowest price out on the other page. So, no good deals here. Ikoria was one of, I think, 2 collector boxes I don't have. Theros Beyond Death 196. I guess it's Spear, Underworld, and there's one other card. There's basically like 3 cards in the whole set that have remained relevant. Pretty rough. And that was back in the era where, before WotC really understood, like, we need chase opportunities in these boxes to get people excited. Lost Caverns 345. Man, feels good. And Phyrexia 248. Pretty nice. I expect that will do really well in the long run. You know, I expect something like Lost Caverns. I think it'll look more like Evolving Skies, where like it just kind of butts up against this price for a long time. Where Phyrexia, I think it'll just gradually march up. In other words, I think Lost Caverns has kind of achieved a lot of the potential it's capable of for the time being. And then we get into a lot of cases and very unloved products. AFR collector boxes, 145. Wonder what the market depth on this one looks like. Let's see. 90 boxes. Wow, it's selling a box a day on average. I'm shocked. So a hair over 6 months supply. Wow, not terrible. I don't really think it's worth buying any more, but okay. And Commander Legends, Battle for Baldur's Gate collector boxes. I opened quite a few of these too, more than any other collector box I've opened to sell singles. 207 for a long time. They were in the 140s. You could get tons of them in the 140s. And of course, they're still the only source for the Ancient Dragons. And it's a half premium set supporting Commander. You don't bet against that. Commander's the most popular format, and it's a half premium set. It's got tons of great Commander cards in it. And of course, since the search functions on TCG Player don't work that great, here is all the sealed products for Commander Masters. So, set boxes, roller coaster history of these two, stores having to fire sell them or bust them down for singles the week of the release because they just collapsed. I mean, it could not... The market just couldn't take the price of these things. It was just unbelievable how expensive they were. I want to say they were, what were they, 280 at wholesale, or were they over 300 at wholesale? Again, I'd have to go back and look, but they were just too damn expensive. And then WotC would eventually blow them out on Amazon for $210. And I don't know, I bought 10 or 12 of them for that. Draft boxes, $278. It's feeling okay. And the collector boxes, $242. There's some over on eBay for $209. I know there's some sellers over there. Again, one of the distributors posing as a retailer over there, selling them for $209. You know, you're a distributor, you get preferential pricing because you're buying straight from WotC in huge quantity, and then you also get preferential fee structures from eBay because of all the volume you do. So, man, they can really undercut and gouge all the retail stores. Moving on, Flesh and Blood. Rosetta just came out. I put up the sales data for September Flesh and Blood recently, and Rosetta, its pre-release and release numbers were not great. It was the worst of the last 4 expansions. So very sad to see moving backwards in that regard. Uprising, yep, an old set, and fallen down more and more and more after LSS stops trying to enforce map pricing on something, and then it gets old in the market. This was the original Fab 2.0 release, down to $61. Outsiders, $76. You know, they can hold these 70s while they're still moderately relevant. 74, of course, Bright Lights just never had the popularity. Not a well-received set. Sad to see this. Well, 75. Okay, the market price is 68, but the lowest... I wonder if this is some weird thing somebody's selling. Shouldn't be for Flesh and Blood. Yeah, there's not. Okay, so the lowest price is actually 79. Cases, Part the Misfail, second to most recent set, 73. So see, they can hold those kind of prices for a while. I think anybody's crazy if they're selling these boxes off in the 50s. You know, it's been dawdling around here for, golly, 18 months now. No, it's even worse than that. It fell nearly $30 in market price over the last year. Yeah. Imagine holding this box for this long, having bought it from distribution in the 40s or 50s, I think, or maybe 60s. Some people have told me several times what they get Flesh and Blood from distribution for. I want to say it's like mid 50s to mid 60s. Imagine having held it that long and then capitulating now and selling it at a loss after tying up your capital this long. Dusk Till Dawn 76, Everfest 51, History Pack 93. That's interesting. It feels like that's going up in price. Of course, Arcane Rising Unlimited. The supply of these is, well, it's getting a bit short. Let's see, I had a good discussion with a patron recently about it. Yeah, 34 in the last 90 days, and there's 61. So it's only got about 5 months of supply listed up on the market right now. And we'll go to the second page of Flesh and Blood, then we'll get on to Pokemon. Tales of Aria, first edition. That's in that late Fab 1.0. Still too early for that to be catching any kind of wind under it. We'll look at these two. Welcome to Wraith and Crucible of War. So 42 in the last 90 days, and there's 99. So yeah, about 2.5 periods. So what's that, 7.5 months of supply? It's a weak indicator, so potentially within the next year we should see the price break over 100. And Crucible, 16 in the last 90 days, and there's 27 listed. So there's 4.5 months of supply of this. I mean, if you just came in here and bought all these boxes under 100, how many is that? 10, 12 boxes under 100? Golly, you'd wipe out nearly half of the supply just taking all the boxes up to $100. You'd entice some other people to come out of the woodwork, though, and list some new boxes, as always. And cases. Yeah, the cases are starting to deviate on the early products from the cost of 4 single boxes. Now, over to Pokemon, of course. And like I say, I have no idea what happened. You know, I sort by best match, and TCG players, like, obviously you want to see all these old out-of-stock boxes first before you would want to see the new stuff. Surging Sparks, 116 for a case. I put up on Friday Sealed Deals a Surging Sparks case for $5.90 for the case of 6 boxes. So it was like, what does that come to? $99 a box instead of this $116. Paldea Evolved, $142. I hope you already have yours, and if not, the best time to buy is today. Evolving Skies. Now this one has been hilarious to watch. You know, when I did my long-term Pokemon box price performance video back in May, Evolving Skies was running a compound annual growth rate of 95%. And it's because it had come up to this $700 price point by then. And it's basically spent the last 6 months just butting up against that. I mean, here it is at $674 3 months ago. Let's go to 6 months. Come on, let's go on the right scale here. $687 market price 6 months ago. So it's just been stuck here at this kind of $700 point where all these buyers are like, yeah, I guess I'll just give up now and take $700 and, you know, instead of holding a little longer through a couple of these people. And I mean, look how fast it breaks from $700 to $760. You know, it's 4 boxes. So actually, it's right here. It's 3 boxes. So you clear these 3 boxes, and then the price goes to $757. And so, you know, when you have an asset whose price kind of gets stuck at an artificial ceiling like that, and it kind of, as some people would say, it bounces off of the resistance there. And it does that for a long time. Like, you exhaust a lot of those sellers who are near that price, because some of these people are like, yeah, I do just actually want the money more than I want to hold the box longer. And so you'll end up just bouncing against that for a while, but once you get over it, you can jump a lot higher pretty quickly. And you see that here. There's only 3 more boxes till it moves to $750. Hopefully a lot more don't come out of the closet, because man, it's not many more boxes until you're at $800, maybe another 6 or 7. So Yeah, it's been stuck at this price for a long time, but it's still doing amazing. I've got an update to that Pokemon long-term booster box performance video coming up. I'm going to be doing that every 6 months from now on. Brilliant Stars 183. This kind of fell down for a little while. Not really sure why. There wouldn't have been a reprint this late of it, but it fell down a bit, but it's probably still going to be the next one to get over $200. We can cross our fingers and just kind of arbitrarily hope it does that before the end of the year. Chilling Rain and Fusion Strike, of course, my favorites when you could buy them for $90 delivered near the tail end of 2021, and Reddit was begging you not to buy them because they were garbage. And here they are at $216 and $210, and that's actually after both of their prices have retreated in the last several months. Not a lot to say about these other early Scarlet and Violet boxes. You should have a regular position in all of these. I mean, Pokemon does so well in the long term, and occasionally one turns into an Evolving Skies or a Paldea Evolved, and, it just vastly outperforms others. Astral Radiance, probably after Brilliant Stars, that'll be the next one to get $200 if we just look at how they're all performing right now. Battle Styles, of course, the worst one out of the Sword and Shield era, $134. So if you'd bought it at wholesale back when it was new, you'd only be up 50% today. Yeah. I'll play the smallest violin for that. Guardians Rising, XY. So yeah, a lot of these are some older boxes. The market has already spoken on those. They've all had 20 to 30% compound annual growth rates for 5-6 years straight now. So the market has already blessed these as winners. Not a lot to say about them. And then we get into some of the even older boxes. Sword and Shield base, 320 now. Is this where we're going to see some of the... Whoops. Is this where we're going to see some of the... other products. 36 loose boosters for 180. Or a sealed box for 340. So yeah, that's why you can't always trust what it says there for lowest price. So yeah, the market's doing really well. I think things are going great, like everyone else says. And I'll just be another person to labor the point. This is the kind of market we love. This is easy to navigate. You don't have to feel bad about buying something and it immediately goes down in price. You can much more confidently just buy things and be happy with them. And yeah, some of them do lose value on the short period, but they come back a lot quicker. I think Duskmourn boxes, if you bought them, collector boxes specifically, if you bought Duskmourn collectors, 2 months ago, or sorry, it just came out a couple weeks ago. If you bought it earlier and they, now they're at 210 over on eBay, well, it's not going to be too long for them to come back. I don't think the market depth is that great. And Magic is really on a roll over the last 20 months. We kind of had the lowest point was Magic 30, and that was December of 22. And early 23, we got Phyrexia, and for the most part, things have been pointing upwards since then. Yeah, there are always some stumbles in the road. It's amazing that the Symphony of Pokemon doesn't have those stumbles, but when you're chasing the cheese wheel down the hill and breaking your neck and taking long-term spinal damage, then, those kind of things happen. So it's been a lot better these last 20 months and specifically this year, and it's nice to see some of these 2021 and 2022 era products start to perform. Some of them, again, just to take one right here, Kaldheim Collectors, man, it's going to be a long and brutal road for that to get anywhere interesting. But let me know what you think, guys. And, if you really want to help the channel, then use my Amazon affiliate link as your landing page on Amazon for every time you buy something from Jeff Bezos, and he'll give me something like 1 to 3 or occasionally 4%. There's no way for me to understand why or how. And I just get a kickback for having referred you to Amazon, and it doesn't cost you anything, and it helps keep the content coming. So several people have signed up and started doing that already. I really appreciate it, and man, it helps out a ton. So patrons, I posted the October buy list yesterday, I believe. I posted a short list of box opening video offers if anyone's interested in that. Oh, yeah, one more thing. Boy, one thing. We have to go out here to like page 4. Lord of the Rings! Yes. And Throne of Eldraine, the original collector box. 228. Go buy this. Man, go buy that. That's way too cheap. I have, I think, only one of them. But let's go check these out. Original Lord of the Rings that at one time contained the 1/1 ring. You know, this thing was just going to be worthless after the 1/1 ring was found. It's just nobody was ever going to want this again, of course. $675 for the lowest one. Wow, 2 a day. 2 a day being sold. What is up with these numbers? 2 a day. Let me try and see. Yeah, this looks right. So, man, still selling through 2 a day. That is amazing. And only 40 listed right now? Imagine what this is going to look like by the end of the year. I mean, there's a chance. I don't know how much I would wager on it, but this has a chance of hitting $1,000 before the end of the year. And then, of course, the special edition box, $942. Is this the one where the results are weird? No. Okay. It's looking okay now. How many are we selling? There is no way we're selling 3 a day of this. No, not recently. Maybe the bonus bucks sale last month. I think it was 913. Yeah, so we see a bit more on 913 from the bonus bucks sale. Okay, but that sales rate has definitely slowed down. What if we change this to 1 month? Okay, then it's reporting 2 per day over the last 1 month. So that's much better data. It's much more proximate to where we are in time now. And only 28 listed. So it sold 60 in the last month, and there's 28 listed right now. What does it look like once we break 1,000 through here? So it's about a dozen boxes. Or it breaks 1,000, then immediately goes to 1150. Yeah, somebody will step in to that gap to sell in between there somewhere. Wow. And then it just ends. Oof. So I put up on my box opening offer for my patrons this month. If you wanted a box of this, it was $1,000. I just threw that up there to see if anybody wanted to try to get serialized movie poster cards. We'll see. Let me know what you think, guys. Use my Amazon link. That helps out a ton. Subscribe, all that other stuff. Do the things with the buttons down below. All the rest of it. Thanks to everyone who makes this content possible, especially my very generous supporters on Patreon. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade.